Though coveted for its lace-making and bicycle industries, Nottingham has a rich past in things other than craftsmanship. This quiet, rather modest town is a treasure trove of history. Among them is William Bendigo Thompson, an exceptional fighter who was scientific in his approach and quick in pace, yet illiterate in giving sermons. As oddly amusing as it may sound, the story of William Bendigo is anything but.
Well, Bendigo was a prize fighter who fought 21 matched fights and was undefeated. His name travelled around the world. He was the biggest name in prize fighting and boxing at the time. The fact that he came from the town of Nottingham, which was undergoing a very difficult period in its history, is remarkable. The other thing about Bendigo is that much of his physical legacy has gone. The place of his birth has gone. The place where he died has gone. Even his grave, which has a memorial to him, was going to be removed by the council at one point in 1948. So we're still talking about him, even though that physical legacy is almost all gone.
On October 11th, 1811, William Thompson was born to Benjamin Thompson, a mechanic in the lace industry. It is often claimed that William was the youngest of 21 children, struggling in the slums of Nottingham. This later was debunked. William is in fact one of 6 children. William was a strong and well-developed young man. He showed a natural ability for all things sports and physical. At 15, his father died, shortly accompanied by his mother, leaving young William without a tether in the world. There is little record of his siblings, but all that is known is that William was sent to the Nottingham workhouse. After leaving the workhouse, Thompson landed the position of being an iron turner, which enhanced his muscular build. At the young age of 18, he had already defeated 8 opponents. Finding his natural talent for fighting, he began to use it to provide for his siblings.
Bendigo was born in 1811 in possibly the worst time in Nottingham's history. The deprivation, the social deprivation, the lack of welfare, and the illness and the poverty that came with it. The Luddites started in 1811, the time of Bendigo's birth, and that was a really significant moment for him. Political unrest continued right through his life, and Nottingham didn't get the swagger and the popularity it now has until, unfortunately, after Bendigo's death.
Win upon win, accolades after accolades poured in. By the age of 21, he was a professional prize fighter, and details of his fights were recorded. Soon, legends of William Thompson started to circulate. His incredible agility earned him the name Bendy, which evolved into Bendigo, a somewhat tweaked version of Abednego from the Bible. His performance in the ring was in large part thanks to his speed and agility. But one can't discount his charm, wit, and personality that instantly won over the crowd. He was known to make up rhymes about his opponents and distract them with insults, funny faces, and stories about their wives and mothers. It was long before William was pulling in crowds of thousands to witness his fights. If we were to count down the greatest hits of William Thompson's career, the fight with Ben Cohn would have to be in the top 3. On July 21st, 1853, the two met up to split a purse of £25. The fight lasted 35 minutes with 22 rounds, each called when either boxer's knee touched the ground. Thompson was 19 kilos lighter and 15 centimetres shorter than his opponent, so he got into difficulties during the fight and stumbled frequently. He, however, had tricks up his sleeve. His stumbling, along with his continuous insults and laughter, frustrated Cohn, who, in the last round, struck Thompson while he was sitting on his second knee in his corner, costing Cohn the match on a foul. Cohn was known to be a man devoid of ethics in his fights, but he had met his match. Over the next few years, Thompson would fight 3 bouts, dispatching John Lechman of Bradford in a 52-round contest and defeating Charlie Langham in 51 rounds. On February 8th, 1839, at the age of 28, Thompson was given the task of defeating the unchallenged, undefeated James Deaf Burke for the All-England title and a massive £220. The fight was held in front of an unruly crowd of 15,000 people. It lasted only 10 rounds, with Thompson battering the helpless Burke. After half an hour of punches and insults from his younger, faster and stronger challenger, Burke grabbed hold of Thompson and headbutted him twice, thus losing on a foul. Thompson received his champion's bout a few weeks later in the Queen's Theatre in Liverpool. He rode high on his successes for a while. His final fight was with Tom Paddock in 1850, after which he retired to pursue a quiet life.
Part of the Bendigo story is that he had a real personality as well as his prize fighting abilities. He used to tell tales, recite rhymes, and taught his opponents. He was effectively the Muhammad Ali of his day, and he was known for that, and he was celebrated by that. The crowds loved him. They loved to hear what he said. The 21 children, well, that's not true. They didn't stop Bendigo from bragging about it and claiming to be one of 21 children. Bendigo was born into poverty and he was illiterate. He had no education whatsoever. However, his character and his sporting prowess and his athleticism made him as famous as he is today. He was a good cricketer. He could have played county cricket at the time. And we have to remember also that in Bendigo's time, prize fighting and cricket were the only mass participation sports in the country. As far as Bendigo's athleticism goes, he was an acrobat. He used to do flips. In fact, he put his knee out and damaged his knee while celebrating and doing a flip off a cart at the time. He was known to have thrown a house brick across the River Trent in Nottingham, which was a no small feat in itself. He was very athletic and very skillful.
That quiet life didn't last long. It barely lasted a few hours, in fact. On June 6, 1850, some moments after his fight with Paddock, Thompson was found drunk on Chandler Street and arrested until he coughed up 5 shillings for his bail. That was followed up with moving to Beeston in an effort to control his drinking, but he didn't stay sober long. In 1872, he appeared at a flock held by a pastor named Richard Weaver. Although Thompson was uneducated, he managed to deliver a moving and convincing sermon. This became a regular thing, and when he spoke at the Ebenezer Lodge, he would take up a boxer's stance. His reputation as a fighter drew in the old crowds, and Thompson went on to explore the country and campaign to hundreds and thousands of people.
Prize fighting in the 19th century was a huge sport, and it was followed by not only the working man, but also the great and the good. After Bendigo's retirement, his last fight in 1850, Oxford University no less, were interested in inviting him to the college to teach the noble art of pugilism to the great and the good at Oxford. This period at Oxford University continued for a period of time when he had to actually be disguised and taken in covertly, because clearly it wouldn't be allowed to have this kind of activity on the site. So it shows how influential prize fighting and boxing was even in those days.
Death. He eventually died on August 23rd, 1880, at 68. He fell down the stairs at his home in Beeston, fracturing a rib and puncturing a lung. He clung to life for 7 weeks before passing away, for he was honoured as a fighter during his funeral. The procession was watched by thousands lining the roads, and among them was some wealthy and affluent members too. Impressively, the Times of London published an obituary for him too, an honour only bestowed upon the most famous Brits. He was buried in St. Mary's burial ground with a tomb featuring a crouching lion. On it is the inscription, "In life, always brave, fighting like a lion. In death, like a lamb, tranquil in Zion."
Bendigo is accredited with introducing the southpaw stance, that is leading with the right hand, and this was quite unusual at the time. There's a lot of theories about why the southpaw stance was not so common, but if you think about it, being illiterate, he hadn't been taught to write with his right hand, so he was left-handed naturally, and he maintained this through his fighting career. The name Bendigo means a huge amount to the town of Nottingham and now the city of Nottingham. Whilst we've lost a lot of his physical legacy, his story does remain, and his name continues through various things. There are bars named after him, there are streets named after him. There's a town, in fact a city in Australia, that's named after him. His name is unique. It was a nickname, but it's a nickname that survives to this day.